I got the crap scared out of me. So I woke up to actually go grab some breakfast before I started working on the paddleboard and doing what we're about to do. But I walk outside, it's completely pitch black out, and all of a sudden in my front yard I see this like black shadow shoot across the yard really fast, and I'm like, dude, what the heck was that? And I'm sitting there, I'm sitting really still and I don't see it, and I kind of like move back and all of a sudden it dashes again. And then I move forward, it dashes again, and I'm like, literally like, what is this thing? Like, because it looks big. Like, it's just like this big dark shape moving across the yard. And then as I move forward to get a better look at it, I realize it's just my big ass head casting a shadow onto my front yard. So if that's not a teller of how tired I am, I don't know what is. I am putting a power pole on the little micro skiff here. I've actually had a power pole since I got it, but strangely enough, when you buy a micro power pole, it doesn't come with a pole for some reason. I guess that's stupid of me to assume the pole part comes. We're gonna install the micro power pole. We are gonna throw the engine on the old skiffy here, and we're gonna get moving and go fish some backwater areas, a little backcountry, somewhere I've been wanting to go for a long time in this thing. And we're gonna go see if there's any fish. Alright, little change of plan at the moment. So originally this morning, I woke up at 5:30, ate some breakfast, and installed a power pole onto my micro skiff. And I was planning on actually just taking it out and going to chase some tarpon around locally, just some small tarpon, and do some backwater, like real backcountry stuff in an area that I really love. And as I've loaded my boat up into the car, I get a call from Peric, AP Basson, and him and Wes Davis, who, if you don't know who Wes is, he's a cameraman and like the main editor and producer for all of the Guggen Squad videos and channel and stuff like that. Really cool dude. And he's a really great fly fisherman as well. Anyways, get a call from them and they say, hey, we are on our way to the Everglades right now to go fish. And I was like, well, I already got my freaking little boat loaded up in the back of the truck. I'll meet you guys there. And so what turned into be like planning on like a 4-hour trip out just right near home is now turning into a 3-hour drive. And we got to knock out this drive, put this camera away, and catch up with the boys in the Glades. Whew. We have made it to the boat ramp where we're gonna be launching out here in the Everglades. Peric and Wes brought Wes's little flats boat that he has, and they are already out there. So I am gonna pack up my things, get ready to launch, and go meet the boys out there. All right, I think we should be good. Let's do this thing. You got that thing rigged up. All right now we are in the mouth of the canal, and we're gonna work our way back into a backwater area. And right at the mouth, there's a big sand dump. It was really shallow, but it already looks deep enough to run again right here. Not necessarily run, but idle. Sick, dude. There's a shark right here. Look at that. That's a shark. How cool is that? That is dope. That is not what I was expecting to see back in this canal like this. And you never know. I mean, if a 2.5 to 3 foot shark is swimming through this shallow of a canal, very well we could see a big giant snook or big giant redfish come flying through as well. Bro, big snook crossing up here. I mean, big for being in this canal for sure. Probably upper 20-incher. All right, so I ditched the boat for a second. It's just sitting right back there because there was a nice snook right along this mangrove line. I don't know if he spooked or not, but worth coming up. Ooh, I thought I saw something. Worth coming up and make a few casts right along here. And I think this is actually probably about as far as I'm gonna go because I just got a call from Peric and him saying that he doesn't think it's worth coming up much further in here, to be honest. So I'll probably turn around here in a second because Peric and West are actually out in front of me. This canal was really, really cool, but Peric told me that him and Wes were up forward some and they just really, they said they saw a few snook, but not enough for anything like they want to keep them there. And they said it'd be better if I just turn around because they've been out fishing for about 3 hours before I have. So I'm gonna turn this sucker around, start pulling my way out of here and head out to different water. If I was trying to catch some blue crab, I'd probably be in the money because there's literally blue crab everywhere. Get out from underneath my boat. All right, give you an update of what's going on real quick. So, went back in this little canal that led to like a really tiny backwater area, and it looked really cool, but it was very shallow. Saw one like maybe 20, like top 20-inch snook in the upper 20s, and saw a little juvenile bull shark. And you know, if you saw a few times in the canal, I got out, pushed the boat around, just to get over some really shallow areas. And then as I was coming out of the canal, there's about a 7-foot gator laying on the bank, and then that little juvenile gator that was just swimming beneath me right there, he was swimming beneath my boat and came off the bank. One, it is just epic of what the diversity is here, that there's snook and bull sharks and alligators all in the same exact body of water. It's a very special thing, and there's only a handful of places in Florida where you really get to experience that, and it's really cool. But also, one, how scary that is and how mindful you got to be when you are in an area like this, especially in a small watercraft. And I thought about gators when I did get out of my boat in there to push it around through the really shallow areas, and I looked around because I knew there should be some gators around here, but those are the first ones I've seen. But very cool. We are gonna head out to a little more open water Everglades areas and really get out into some bigger water, because this little stuff doesn't seem to be holding much fish. At least according to Peric and West, they went way back in that canal I was in before me, and they just said you should turn around. We're not seeing much of anything, so we're gonna head out to some bigger water. All right, we have ran for probably like an hour or so. I shouldn't say run, but I was on the motor for about an hour. We have now made it to where we're gonna start. So, new addition. Power pole in the back wobbling around out there. It had to be tilted up the way the board's designed for it to like go on without being a problem, but so we'll see how that does for us today. Big beautiful twitch bait right here, 4,000. We're just gonna cover some ground, see if we can find some redfish, tarpon, or snook. This is completely like brand new to me. I don't think I've ever fished in the Everglades before. So this is like 1000% new. I don't know any spots. I don't know really what to look for, what to do, other than just the fishing knowledge that I have and trying to apply to an area like this. When I'm fishing a new area, I love throwing a twitch bait. It just is a great way to cover a lot of water, and also everything will at least hit this bait. You know, if I know an area well and I know I'm trying to target a specific fish, I'll throw something very, very specific for that fish. But just trying to cover water and figure out where some fish are, you can't really go wrong with something moving, whether it's a small paddle tail, twitch bait, a jerk bait, diving minnow. So that's what we're doing. Covering the ground, trying to find some fish. Oh, there's a fish. Oh gosh, what is that? That is freaking yeeted that thing out of the water. I think it was just a small trout. Oh gosh, I just got freaking exploded on. Oh, there's a fish. Oh, ladyfish. Come on now. You can jump off if you want, guy. Well, monkey's off her back. We caught a fish. Now it's time to catch basically anything other than ladyfish, honestly. Nice pass here. There's a lot of current flying through here. Ooh, there's a bite. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Doesn't feel too big. How the hell? Mangrove snapper. That is the last thing I expected, honestly. Mangrove snapper. Well, it wasn't a ladyfish, and that's all I said. That we want to catch something other than a ladyfish, but I was hoping it'd be more redfish or tarpon or snook-esque. But there's a lot of current in this pass, and there could be some good fish in here. We're gonna definitely, we're gonna work this really, really well. Let's see how she does. Oh gosh, something freaking crushed that as it was falling. This has gotta be a jack. Good Lord. Its head shakes are freaking insane on this thing. Well, we haven't found any big fish yet on our Everglades trip, but to be fair, it is 2 in the afternoon right now. And this was literally, I just decided to come here this morning after Parrot called me. And I'm happy to just be catching anything, really, at this point. Don't matter if it's big or small, I'm just glad to be into some fish. And this thing's fighting okay. I don't know what we're dealing with here, but it's in a nice little tuna circle. Oh, fought like a Jack Crevalle, hit like a Jack Crevalle. Who would have guessed it might be Jack Crevalle? And a little baby submarine. Cool, cool. Catching some fish, and they've gone up in size, if you can consider that going up in size. But hopefully we'll start turning some of these jack into snook, some of these ladyfish into tarpon or redfish. We have a lot of time to fish, so I'm not overly concerned about us at least finding some more fish and hopefully finding something good today. Oh, there's a fish. That's a trout right there, troutski. That was on the next cast, very next cast after catching that jack. Beautiful troutski. Purple, what a dog. Hey yo, I might have found the color and the bait to be throwing, boys. Something that I do when I'm fishing, especially a new area, but I mean anywhere in general, unless I'm just like, no, I know this works. This is a good trout. Is that I will, good Lord. Nice, probably 18-inch trout right there. Nice, probably like 15, 16-inch trout right there. Nose dive them. Sweet, as I was trying to say while fighting the thing, something that I'll do when I'm fishing a new area particularly is I mentioned earlier that I like to throw a search bait when I'm fishing a new area. But another thing that I'll do to break it down is just switch baits all the time. I mean, I've probably been fishing this small area of about, I don't know, maybe 45, 50 yards for about an hour. And it's a small area, but fishing out of a little micro skiff that I paddle around, I can't fish super fast, which I have found has really started to help me a lot. But I will change baits constantly. I have thrown a twitch bait, a shrimp, and now a paddle tail all in the course of 40 minutes. And I know that may not seem like a lot, but 3 different baits in 40 minutes is can be pretty weird. Sometimes I'll go out and throw the same exact lure for 7 hours. But with this, I'm trying to figure out a new area. I'm trying to figure out what they're eating. Oh, there's a fish. Oh, another trout right there. Nice, dude. I'm trying to figure out what they're eating, and I very clearly have found out what they're eating right there. So that has gotten me stoked, like beyond stoked, because a lot of times that's the hardest part, is just like, well, what do they want to eat? And I think we found it. Oh my gosh, did he choke this freaking thing? Good Lord almighty. Not huge, but I mean a thick fish. I gotta get the pliers out for this guy, because he was not trying to let this little paddle tail get away. Look at this thing. That's crazy. I think it is safe to say, boys, we may have figured out a pattern here, and that has got me fired up and my hands slimed up. And there's another fish. Good Lord, if it's another trout, I'm gonna freak out. I think it's a small jack, maybe. Even. Good Lord, have I found a trout hole. Good God. This is awesome, you guys. I mean, to come to a place I have never been before, and really, I mean, just last minute come here too, and to just be slamming some nice trout. I mean, I couldn't be more stoked about that. And this one, I think, is probably the biggest one so far. He's probably close to 20 inches. Beautiful trout right there. I am stoked right now, you guys. Midday update. Currently, it is 3:30 in the afternoon, and I'm sitting in the middle of the Everglades. So, sitting down for a second to eat something. It is insanely hot out. Like, I mean, just constantly in a state of a really good sweat. And I'm sure a lot of you guys who are from up north, or maybe you don't get out all the time, you're probably thinking, well, no duh, you're hot, you're in a long sleeve shirt and pants. I sweat while I'm in this stuff, but it really gives me a lot of longevity from the sun. Peric and Wes texted me, said they're gonna chill out and grab lunch for a little bit because they are just so beat down by the sun. And, you know, they're just not as used to fishing out in the hot Florida sun like I am. So, gonna eat a little bit of snack here, this big granola bar. Got a big giant jug of water that I've been chugging on all day. It is so important when you're out here to, you know, have something to eat, and mainly to stay hydrated, or you're just not gonna have any longevity when you're trying to fish, man. So far, happy. Caught a few trout, but I would love to see if we can tangle into some big fish. We've gone 10 miles deep into the mangroves, and it's taken an enormous amount of effort, but there's a huge, beautiful pond in front of us here, and I'm hoping we'll be rewarded for. Oh God, I hope we will be. That was a lot of effort, and it's been a very long day. Oh my Lord, that got a little intense in those mangies back there, a lot more intense than I was really planning on it being and hoping it would be. Oh, that was a bummer going so far back in there. Like, it took me an hour to get back to that pond, and then like 45 minutes to get out because I went a completely different way. And it was a lot of work and banging through the mangrove, and somehow miraculously I only managed to hit one single log, like with my engine, and then just like run into every single mangrove bush on the planet Earth. Unfortunately, I had to dip out a little earlier than I would have liked to for a very annoying reason and dumb reason is that my cell phone was about to die and only had 4% battery once I got out of this jungle, basically. And as dumb as that sounds, like, oh, you really need your phone? The only reason is because I was using it to navigate and using the maps on my phone to not get lost in the millions of acres of just jungle that is out here. And I don't have a GPS, and I know that's my own fault and stupid, but because my phone was dying, I was like, I need to get out to where I know where I'm at before I am stuck and lost out here. So we're gonna make our way back to the ramp, and I'll catch up with you guys there. Slight concern, but not super worried about it. Pulling the boat out. You gotta get in the water to get it out. Alligator right there. Alright, made the drive home last night. Took me about 3 hours to get home. Now originally the plan was for me to actually sleep overnight in the Everglades and chill out with Peric and Wes. I decided I need to come home, I had things to do, and I also had a special guest arrive today that we're gonna do some fishing this afternoon and tomorrow because he's on a big busy tour and he's stopping through in Florida here. Funny thing, that was my first time ever fishing the Everglades, and the reason I went down was to fish with Peric and Wes. And I ended up not even seeing them once through the whole entire day, even though we launched at the same exact boat ramp and we're fishing the same area. We ended up just never seeing each other. And I got in from fishing around 7:30, and I just packed up my boat and drove home, and they got in around 8:30. And we just fished the exact same area in the same launch with intention to fish with each other and never even saw each other. That's the way it goes sometimes, I guess. Super cool fishing the Everglades. My really only takeaway from it is, as cool as it was fishing it in the micro skiff, there is a lot of water, like millions of acres of Everglades and mangroves and water to be covered out there. And I honestly, it was kind of overwhelming trying to fish it in a tiny little boat, but it was cool for what it was and definitely a neat first experience. I think if I ever go down again in the micro skiff, I would want to go out and camp on some islands and kind of set up a home base, because it would be a lot easier to have a camp, go fish, you know, a little bit away, come back to camp midday and chill out. It was such a long run in the little boat out there that I just stayed out and fished from 9 a.m. till 7 in the afternoon, and that's a long day being stuck on a glorified paddleboard. Or I wish I would have been able to hook into some bigger fish, but that's just the way it goes. I was happy to really catch anything on my first experience ever being out there. I would consider that a win. Video a little bit longer, but I felt like it was important because, one, this is my first time ever fishing in the Everglades and fishing somewhere so big in the micro skiff, to kind of show the grand scape of everything that was going on, you know, show the process and the trip and everything that was going into it, and it was a really cool time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like, make sure you go down below and hit the subscribe button. We're almost 2,000 away from 100K. And that is pretty awesome. I can't wait till we get to that big milestone, something I've been chasing for a long time, and it is because of you guys we are getting there. I appreciate you guys. Until the next video, peace.